Hello and welcome to the July edition of Community Connect, brought to you by the Marshall Area Chamber of Commerce. This month's guest is Sharon Hanson. Sharon is the City Administrator and first-time, three-time attendee of Community Connect.
Awesome.
Gosh,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's talk about a little bit about what happened in June. We had some larger events to touch on, so let's talk about those. The very first weekend in June, which is one of the most popular weekends in the summer, is the Shades of the Past event. That Friday night was a little rainy. I don't think the parade happened that night. If it did, it was a really rainy night out. But the following day, a huge event out behind Running. So thanks for everybody that came into Marshall. Thanks for everybody that put a car or a vehicle or a tractor or whatever they had at the Shades of the Past event on that Saturday. Bingo night was back at the Red Baron Arena on June 8th. This adult version of bingo was put on by Visit Marshall and the American Legion. Another good showing in its second year out at the Red Baron Arena. The following Thursday, a lot of things going on Thursdays. The annual Walk for Memories, 5K Run for Memories was on June 15th, also at the Red Baron Arena. This was put on by the Marshall Area Dementia Network. Good turnout and for an important cause and a good family. That was the sponsored family this year in the Dahl family. Finally, the following day on the 16th was the David Drown Golf Classic. This popular five-person team event helps to scholarship student athletes right here on campus. Thanks to everybody who attended. We had 30 plus teams at that event again this year, and it was a great day for golf. So again, Sharon is the city administrator here in Marshall. Sharon, not a lot of pro-business things came out of the legislative session this year. One positive thing for the city of Marshall was the fact that the aquatic center, the sales tax extension was passed through the legislature. So, excellent. That's great news. So let's fast forward a couple months. Why is the city proposing a new aquatic center?
Yeah, great intro. We are appreciative of the legislature. We weren't successful last year, and that added cost to the project just simply from inflation. So appreciate Representative Swedinsky and Senator Dames for helping us get that through this year. There's many reasons where we're looking at a new aquatic center, but let me just do a little history. I mean, the main pool, the largest pool that's out there, was constructed in 1937. It was originally a Works Progress Administration pool, and at that time the federal government funded 50% of it with a match from the city. So we had help back then to do what we did. It also means that it's over 80 plus years old. And it's showing many signs of deficiency. We lose currently about 12 to 15,000 gallons a day. So we've got water leaking from it. The bathhouse, pool house, where people enter the facility and, of course, change, use the restroom, things like that. It's not ADA compliant, neither is our pool. So many families are going outside the city of Marshall to seek other aquatic centers. They may be going to Brookings or Watertown or Sioux Falls, and we know we've had others in the area as well. So we're missing out on keeping families here and enjoying the beautiful city of Marshall and some enjoyment with water. We know that we need additional features, which currently the pool does not have. The last major renovation for our aquatic center was in 1970. That's when the bathhouse was constructed. And I was born in 1970, so that's 52 years ago. But lots of piping degradation. We've had issues really almost every year with something with that. Electrical, always a big if we're going to get the aquatic center up and running. So we value what we can provide there, not only for family fun, but swimming lessons. We do a lot of swimming lessons in the summer. It's a life-saving skill. And it adds to quality of life, and that's important to Marshall. Our Parks and Recreation rank very high. However, this is one area that I know the community has spoken out about and said we need to look at an aquatic center. So.
And of course, the survey just a couple of years ago was like 77% favor that this needs to get done.
Yeah, we did a survey in October of 21 And I really like that survey because we surveyed all different age groups in different parts of the city. So it was really an unbiased survey. There was support for the sales tax extension. So it is an extension. We're not raising the current sales tax. We're just keeping it where it's at. And there was also a lot of mention about we need a water park, we need water features, we need zero depth entry, which would help with ADA, but also helps families with younger kids have a safer environment than what they have now. So we think there's good support out there, and we'll see. And I know we'll get to that in a little bit.
Of course, the original sales tax built the Red Baron Arena and the Merit Center. So, and you can see over the last 5-6 years and beyond that with the Merit Center how much of an impact that had for the Marshall community. So yeah, it's going to go towards a lot of good things. You had mentioned the amount of water that gets leaked out. Of course, with the river right by, that can't be good.
Right. We think that's where it goes.
Yeah.
We do get asked, where does it go? We're not entirely sure. Maybe that it does saturate further below the ground. But in a wet year, we actually gain water. So there definitely is some water movement back and forth. But mostly we're losing it, not gaining it.
So let's talk about the cost. Obviously, if it would have passed last year in the legislative session and then the referendum would have voted last November, we're fast forwarding a year. So the cost must have gone up.
Yeah, unfortunately, inflation, which is not just the United States, we're seeing it worldwide, and it's impactful for this aquatic center. We did a study in late 2018. It was released in 2019. At that time, it was, a new aquatic center was estimated to be $8 to $10 million. Last year, when we looked at this with the legislature, we were at $14 million. Currently, $18.3 million. Again, we're still fighting inflation. It really needs to be higher than that, but we've got authorization for 18.3, and we're telling our architects and engineers to really try to stay close to that. We have sought private donations, and we've really kind of done a little communication on that. We're going to be a little more out there following this week, the 4th of July week, when people get settled back in after their vacations. Because we think there's going to be a gap, and so we're concerned about it. But there's lots of concrete, lots of steel piping, and just generally the cost of construction really adds to the entire cost. So we've compared with other aquatic centers in the region on costs, what they built it for back in the day and what it costs now. It's pretty amazing, the increase in costs. So we really need to get this done because another year wait will only add to the cost. And this is a 50-year project plus, as we've evidenced by our last aquatic center. And so we think it's a good investment even with costs increasing.
Of course, a lot of water cooler talk is the aquatic center over the last couple of years. And where will it be located? The West Side School, the current location. Can you just kind of tell our watchers today where it's going to be located and why? Yeah,
there's lots of pluses and minuses to each location. The current location has that history. It's protected by the wind and tucked away, and we kind of like that. At the same time, because of its location, doesn't have great visibility for visitors. It doesn't pique people's interest if they're coming through town, and it's also unsafe getting in and out. The pedestrian, bicycle traffic. If there ever was an emergency, there's one way in and one way out. That's something you never really want if you're in the public safety field. And then finally, it just doesn't fit. The new aquatic center, really you need about 8 acres. We want to develop green space in addition to all that concrete I talked about, and you need space to do that. We're very aware of the history and the legacy of Legion Field and that park, and we really want to see it used as a park, and we have no other intention but to repurpose that site for park and recreation. We don't know exactly what that might be. We've talked a little briefly about pickleball courts, and I think that's something we want to explore. We're one of the few communities who does not have a sole purpose pickleball court. But Getting back to our new location, we're actually looking at locating it next to Schwann's corporate headquarters. It's that large green space with lots of trees, lots of open space. We're going to try to save as many trees as we can. We're going to look at their parking lot and using that, which is just southeast of the green space. That'll save us money. We don't have to construct a parking lot. Sounds of Summer is actually going to be located on that particular space as well this year. They're not able to use their current location because of other scheduling conflicts. So they need a home too. It's obviously our community festival. So I could go on different reasons, but I like the visibility and the ability to provide some green space, the parking, and a home for Sounds of Summer. And we're going to dedicate the Legion Field to a park, just like it originally intended to be, and we'll find a really good purpose for it.
Sure, good. So between now and November 7th, I would imagine there'd be some, opportunities for people to come see some drawings and that sort of thing. But will there be a way for residents to decide on this project? Yeah.
Actually, today we're getting out some information boards to the library and the YMCA, and we're going to put some things up at the Aquatic Center as well. But the legislature gave us authorization to seek approval for a sales tax extension. So that means it means a referendum, and it means the voters get to decide whether or not they want to extend the sales tax. And that'll be November 7th of this year. And so really a short time from now, we want to provide as much education as we can. We cannot tell people how to vote, but we can provide residents and voters information. We hope to get out there more in doing that. But they'll have their chance to have their say November 7th, and hopefully we have a good outcome. And that would be people going out to vote. I think there's a lot of support, but they may not know they need to vote. So this is going to be a big push for us as well, as not only talking about the Aquatic Center, but that you have to vote on November 7th.
Thanks, Sharon. And so Sharon and Preston Stensrud came into the Chamber Board of Directors meeting last Wednesday with the informational session, and the Chamber Board unanimously voted 15-0 in support of the project. So it is good for the City of Marshall. It's a good reason to bring people to town. When people come to town, they're going to go to our restaurants, they're going to go to the shops. It's an overall amenity for the City of Marshall. We hope that people move to Marshall because something like that. So thanks for being here. And that was a really good overview of the Aquatic Center. So
thank you.
All right. So let's talk about some really fun things that are going on in July. So today, you had just heard that Sharon had said today there's going to be some information coming out. Today is Thursday, July 6th. This is going to be going on through the whole month of July on public access. I just want to make sure the viewers knew that. The Pride and the Tiger tournament is next Monday, the 10th. This popular event goes to help fund scholarships for high school students, plus other initiatives and programs at the public and private schools. This is going to be at the Marshall Golf Course. And Sharon, I know you sit on the board out there. That golf course has come a long ways over the last 3-4 years.
Yeah, it's in great condition.
Yeah.
So Lance and his staff keep it in great condition, and I know the entire staff, when they have events like this, pull together and make it a great event. So great support for that, for the Pride and the Tiger.
Yep. Hope Harbor is hosting a dessert frenzy on Monday night. You can reserve a table of 8 to 10 people. The event is actually free, and the way they're raising money is the more people that money per table that's raised gets the best kind of dessert. So win-win, come on out Monday night to the upper room for the Dessert Frenzy in Hope Harbor. Crazy Days is in 2 weeks. It's on Thursday, July 20th. This long-time event is held all throughout town, but you'll find most activities in downtown throughout the day. There'll be food trucks, kiddie parade, candy drop, plus much, much more. Sharon, with the 3rd Street construction almost finishing it up, some of those businesses on 3rd Street have really taken it hard. Yeah. It's going to be pretty important for people to come downtown and throughout the area to get some shopping.
Yeah, I know there's a recent article about concrete nearly being completed, and the sidewalks near the businesses have been completed, so they're open.
Yeah.
They're accessible, and it is a great time to visit those businesses, especially on 3rd Street.
Yeah, absolutely. So give them a look, come on downtown. And throughout town. Can't forget about the other businesses throughout town. Also on the 20th, that same night, as Crazy Days is finishing it up, it'll be the second version. Tonight is actually the 6th, is the first version of Tunes on the Terrace. The Singing Q's, Quinn Horvath and Quentin Brunsvold will be singing on the Terrace, which is right next to Mainstay, or between Mainstay and City Hall. Let's talk about that. This is a pretty fun event. Cool way for cool event for downtown.
Yeah, I know one of the questions we got is, when is this going to be completed? We're doing it with our own staff, and you mentioned Preston's name, but Preston Stenzer is leading this project with his staff, and we've had some contractor help as well, but because we're doing it with our own staff, we're limited on timing and when we can get everything finished. But our goal is Sounds of Summer, and I know they're having events prior to that, and hopefully it'll work out just fine. It'll be a good test run before we actually officially cut the ribbon and do a grand opening on it. But it saves us money by doing it on our own staff, so hopefully the public appreciates that fact. But it'll be a great venue in the interim, and as we complete it, it'll be great into the future.
Yeah, it is exciting. It's another entity or nice thing for downtown for people to go to. Finally, we have a number of chamber events, of course, in July, like we always do, but I want to highlight the Chamber's State of Agriculture event. It is on Tuesday, July 25th, out at the fairgrounds. This year's panelists include Mike Borbroom with Borbroom Egg, Karen Olson with Olson Organics, Mark Fisher with M&B Farms, and Bob Worth with the Minnesota Soybean Growers Association. The theme this year is going to be more on the crop side of things, so that's why some of those folks are on there. But registration can be found on our website. So all these events and more can be found on our website at marshallmn.org. Some of these events can be found on the Visit website at visitmarshallmn.com. Just a reminder, we still do have coupon books. They will be on discount as well on Crazy Days. There's over $5,000 worth of savings, and it goes towards our main initiative that's helping shop local and do your shopping local in the area. So, Sharon, thanks for being here.
Thanks for inviting me.
Brock Claith will be my guest in August. He is involved with both the Lyon County Fair and the Sounds of Summer. So he's going to give us a preview of both of those activities here in the Marshall area. So again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next month.